Hello and welcome back to my channel, Men with Mare. Okay, you all, I am going to speak to something different, and I know that a lot of you come to this channel because it is a comfort to you, and I hope that this is too. And I hope that this is going to help you look at your emotion, especially anger, in a different way. Since a lot of you come here to get comfort, I will let you know that I'm not in my usual calm state. I am very frustrated and angry. It's not just the world circumstances, but my own life and the powerlessness that I feel that I'm currently experiencing. I have been working a lot with my therapist on sacred rage. Yes, I do have a therapist. It is in good practice for all therapists to also have their own therapist because we are people. We are real people with complex lives and emotions. And even though we do understand how to work with other people, sometimes we have blind spots and we have a hard time doing it ourselves. So I've been working with my therapist about rage and anger and a lot of the shame that I feel around having this emotion. I want to share some things that I've learned. I've learned that every single emotion is really like a guidepost for you. No emotion is good or bad. No emotion is something that you should shy away from. In fact, you should honor it, but it's honoring it in a certain kind of way. I'm not saying that you have permission to act out in violence. I think that it's not that at all. It's being curious about why you're having this emotion and then how to channel it for your greater good or for the planet's greater good. Now, as you all know, I am going through divorce and it is really hard. And there's a lot of injustice that my members know about, but I want to talk about sacred rage. When I was discussing about the anger that I felt, I was very ashamed of it because, especially as a woman, but men have this too, but especially as a woman in this society, I've been conditioned to believe that expressing anger is not ladylike or you don't want to be like an angry woman. You know, you'll see this type of label and stereotype. I'm speaking about it from, a person of privilege and I'm white. Think about people of color often get that label of as an angry Black woman when they have every reason to be angry and to express it. In my practice, like really working with my therapist, and I was figuring out a way to honor my anger and how do I channel it? How do I allow it out with it also being self-destructive? Because that's really hard because I always equated anger with negativity and harm. I thought like whenever people actually show anger, there's always been like a fear of violence for me. And it's not that at all. I think that a lot of times we will ignore our emotions, we will ignore anger because of our misbeliefs about it. My therapist had me envision anger as its own being, my anger. What has it been trying to tell me? And I believe my anger has been trying to say, listen to me. I will protect you. Do not ignore me. I'm showing you what is okay and what is not okay. I also think that about envy, the emotion with envy. Many years ago, hearing about somebody who published a book, I would get just like a little envious or just think to myself,
like, why does she get to do a book? And like, how's she come across that,
Like this attitude that I would have when really that isn't something to ignore. That envy is there because that's a guidepost, like showing me the way, like, hey, actually, that's a mirror. You actually want that too. And maybe you aren't going in a direction that's aligned with it. I want to have an open discussion around this about how you all see rage and anger because it really is not a problem to be solved. It is not an emotion that you should eradicate. Our rage is sacred because it is telling us so much and we have to listen to it. It's like our boundary keeper, our protector. It's that sense that comes over you that knows like, you know what, that doesn't feel right. I don't like that. Someone's doing something that isn't okay. So it is like a messenger. When I talk about sacred rage, I'm talking about how you honor it and channel it in a way that is for the greater good, that isn't harmful to yourself or to others. Like for instance, sacred rage that I'm experiencing right now, I was just laying on the couch, staring at the ceiling, just, in disbelief, feeling angry, feeling frozen, feeling powerless. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do a video on this. So it's what got me to get in this seat right now and to talk to you all. And I don't know if you all will like this video, but I feel a duty to honor this anger, this rage, and share it with you all. So when I talk about sacred rage, I'm talking about rage that comes to you and it propels you into action. It propels you toward justice. So moving it through toward justice instead of rage being ego to get revenge. Sacred rage is a higher level that we can channel that isn't connected to your ego and getting revenge. That's not what this is about. And I think that a lot of our problems that are going on in the world are because of revenge. And I mean, there's horrible things that are happening, but it's how do we use it to propel in our own lives? Rage is sacred because it pushes you and there's an immediacy that you want to address it. It's different than like being impulsive. And a lot of you mentioned after the chemtrails video reaction from Lana that I did, and the Women Who Run with the Wolves, people were mentioning that book, which is a book that I was introduced to so many years ago, and some reason it escaped my mind. But it really feels as if Lana in that scene is embracing that sacred anger there. So many of us were taught not to value anger, that it's something that to identify it, it is that voice that's inside of you that's saying enough of the suffering, enough of the illusions, feeling like it doesn't have to be this way. So when you honor that fire that's within you, you are really embodying the antidote to weakness and suppression. The rage that propels us into activism. That activism will cause ripples of light, an effect on other people in a positive way. The more that you honor that anger and expressing it in a way that's not destructive, but only for the best, for the highest good of all, you are then also letting other people honor their anger and allowing it to propel them into action. And, we do need more change makers. We do need people that can just burn through the complacency of seeing what's on the news or injustices in their own lives and just taking it and being like, oh, there's nothing I can do. So I'm asking you all to release yourself from bondage, to rip through, free yourself of the identity and the conditioning to be this thing that society has conditioned you to be. So for me, when I was reading what my anger was saying to me with that exercise with my therapist, it was saying to me, like, I've been here all along. I've been trying to get your attention. I was trying to save you from hardship, and I was ignored. And it's true. That feeling inside where you're like, that's not right. That's not okay. There's this other part of your brain that can rationalize it and try to tamp it down, and also to think that you don't know best and that anger is something to be afraid of. It's not. My therapist then asked me to record myself reading what I wrote as my anger to myself and listen to it when I'm doing the dishes, when I'm outside gardening, when I'm doing everyday things, and to be reminded. And so doing it every day and hear it every day, I'm just like, oh, wow. I realized what a huge emotion that I had just been stuffing and ignoring when it was really there to help me. It truly was there to help me. If you want to know more about accessing this in a healthy way, let me know and I will do another video on it. But I just wanted to get on here to give you all permission, which you don't need from me, but sometimes we have to hear somebody else say it. You have permission to feel rage. You have permission to feel anger. It doesn't give you permission to harm someone else, but I encourage you to be curious about why it's there and don't reject it, because every single emotion that we feel is for a reason and we can honor it. Every single emotion should be honored, especially rage. All right, let me know your thoughts. Take care.